the unseen all around you. Indeed, all around you. On this series, you'll see a few more things that are all around you, but most people do not notice, or do not know how to interpret, or do not know how to read it. A few years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, a man from Israel who happened to be Jewish sent me a message. And the Farish sent me that message to me. They only send like a minimum. But they sent it to me because they knew I would be interested. Usually I only read messages from the 72s or from people I've known for a long, long time. But they sent it to me, and it was a very interesting message. So this guy from Israel, who happened to be Jewish, wrote, I've been watching your videos and this and that, and I agree with a lot of things you're saying, and it makes a lot of sense, and all the evidence, blah, 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 blah. But, how do you explain that there is nothing written about Azazel in ancient texts? There's no mention of Azazel in ancient texts, he was saying. He also said, Azazel is mentioned on the Old Testament, but there's no originals of the Old Testament. All the writings of the Old Testament are Greek, but it's after the crucifixion, and Latin, and these days English, Japanese, French, English, whatever. Any language in the world, there's a version of the Old Testament. But these are all post-crucifixion. All these versions of the Old Testament, there's different versions too, but the original parchments, the original writings, there's none. They don't exist. So he's telling me this proves that there's no such thing as Azazel, because there's no ancient writings whatsoever. Azazel is mentioned on the Old Testament, but these are all AD, nothing old. Jesus, there's writings, old writings, also according to him, post-crucifixion. So this proves that there's no such thing as Azazel. That is just a myth from the story of the two goats and all that. And they gave him the name Azazel, and that's it. Okay. So I wrote back and I told him, look, number one, just because you're Jewish, that doesn't turn you into a biblical expert, authority. Because I know a lot of Jewish friends. They're not like radical Jews, just normal Jews. They don't even go to the synagogue. But just because they're Jewish, they think they know more than everybody else. They're experts in biblical issues. They're not, but they think they are. And so I told them, let me show you something. And I sent him this. A couple of days later, he replied saying, I don't know what this is. What is it? And I told him, read what's on that parchment. And then he sent me another message, says, I cannot read this. And then I finally, we had like a video call, and I told him, look, you sent me a first message claiming there's no mentioning of Azazel whatsoever in old parchments and old writings. Everything is AD. It shows up in the Old Testament, a goat. You tell me that there's none. However, I sent you this image, which is BC. It's parchment. We call it a pesher. In this case, this pressure is the 4Q180. 4Q180. So this parchment, this pressure, and you don't know what it is to start with. You don't know what you're looking at. Number two, I tell you to read it. You don't know how to read it. So how dare you telling me that there's no mention of Azazel in BC? If you don't know how to read an ancient parchment in Hebrew, and if you don't even know what you're looking at, how come you're making assumptions that there's nothing about Azazel in the old days before the crucifixion? Because I'm showing it to you, it's right there, Azazel. Azazel. And where? What's the date of this? Well, you don't know. This is me talking to him. You don't know what you're looking at. Then I told him, look, the Old Testament, according to Christians and Jews, how old is it? When was it written? Time of Moses. According to Jewish and Christian tradition, was written during the 66 books, writings, written during the time of Moses, which according to you and Christians is 1600 BC. The Bible, post the crucifixion. What you're looking at it's a fragment of the so-called Dead Sea Scrolls. And this piece, this pressure, is the 4Q180. Now, how old are the Dead Sea Scrolls? Well, it depends on the source. Some said it was 1 AD, 1 BC. Another one said 5 BC. People differ. And the internet differs too. Some even say it was 70 AD. Others go all the way to 5th, 6th century BC. People differ. And it is 6th century. It's a bit over 500 years before the crucifixion. And the name Azazel is there. Way before Jesus was ever mentioned anywhere. But Azazel is there. So, you see, you're telling me something, making assumptions, pretending to be a scholar, and you don't even know what you're looking at. You're looking at it, but it's unseen. You're looking at it, but you can't read it. Yet you think you know it all because you read it somewhere or you made an assumption. No. And there's a lot more than just this one. And if you wait, you will see more. That's what I thought. So he didn't write to me for a while, and then he wrote to me. I don't know, he went and talked with some rabbis or something, and they too proved him wrong, and then he apologized. But yeah, if you don't know what you're looking at, or if you're not able to read it, maybe don't make assumptions. Ask before coming to conclusions. Don't only have to ask me, ask a bunch of other people, many people. Not only one source like me. You just go around. Sooner or later, you'll come back to me. I guarantee you, because I'm telling you the truth. And I have the evidence to back it up, not just chit-chat. Azazel, the four brothers, the cause, it's all around you. To most, it's unseen, but it's all around you. Do you know, when people ask me, people that don't know me or just met me recently, they ask me, so what do you do for a living? I tell them, I work for a family who you see every day, but you don't believe they exist. Maybe you believe they existed a long time ago, but don't exist anymore. That's who I work for. I work for that family that you see every day, all around, in stores, on TV, on books, but you don't believe they exist. That's the family that I work for. And the ramifications and the presence, it's all around you. But it's unseen because you don't believe, you don't know what you're looking at, and you can't read it. But it's all around you. Well, you know that if you watch the videos, there are information how the Karishis are related to the territory of Russia. It would be called something else. Now it's called Russia. It's a territory that matters. It's not the fact that it's Russia. It's not about vodka or babushkas or all kinds of other things. Or the czars. Those are things that happen. Part of the culture, part of the history. But what's important for the Karishis is the territory. And most of the times, who's in charge? Unfortunately, not always. We can decide who's in charge, but we try to make our way into it, not only in countries, but in other places, as you know. Anyway, you know, like I was saying, you know the connection of Karishtos with the Russian territory. If you've watched the videos, I'm not going to explain everything. It's a long story. I've explained it. But you know the connection. Since Daniel, aka Putin, became the president in 2000, a lot of Azazel things starting popping up on TV, animated series, movies, all kinds of stuff. Of course, the Russian population, 99% of them don't know, maybe 98%. They don't know. But it's all around them too, but they don't see it. But it's all around them.
Something is always happening. But when it happens, people don't always see it, or understand it, or accept it.
And then he sent me another message, says, I cannot read this. You don't know what you're looking at. Number two, I tell you to read it. You don't know how to read it.
Гони! Азазель. 2, 1, стой!
Эраст?
Азазель.
О, входите, Фандорин, не топчитесь на пороге. Жаль, к совещанию не успели. Мы обсуждали возможный смысл слова «Азазель». Азазель. Азазель.
Стало быть, 4 версии. Стало быть, 4 версии. Стало быть, 4 версии. Стало быть, 4 версии.
Я что-то упускаю? Говорите, говорите. Я в работе чинов не признаю.
Леди Эстер. Она, конечно, весьма почтенная и уважаемая особа. Леди Эстер. Леди Эстер. Леди Эстер. Леди Эстер.
Азазель.
Стало быть, 4 версии. Леди Эстер. Она, конечно, весьма почтенная и уважаемая особа.
And it's all around you too. Watch this series, it's not very long, for you to see more of the unseen all around you.
Азазель, Азазель! Что еще за Азазель на нашу голову?
Азазель.